So I was just reading a book about a philosophy book about the unity of knowledge and action. And the basic premise of the book is that this Cartesian Western idea of there being a mind inside my head that is separate from the world all around me has to go, and it's outdated, and it's really causing us all a lot of stress, and it's really at the root of all of our social ills, the root of all of our environmental ills. It's at the root of all of our problems because it makes us feel disconnected from each other. You know, if I'm my individual mind that exists hidden in my brain somewhere, and if I have to use this language to express myself, and the words are all clumsy, and I don't know enough to do it adequately, and so on and so forth, and it isolates us, and it makes us feel alone and misunderstood. And this book I'm reading is really trying to show how language isn't a collection of words that the self uses to try to express itself in the best way it can. The self is constituted by the language itself. Your vocabulary is who you are. If you think you are some essential ego, some mental substance that views the world objectively and has these sensory impressions implanted into it, and when you speak, you don't think and then translate the thought into a speech act. You speak out loud, you think out loud, and when you think to yourself, you're talking to yourself. And before you learn to speak a public language, you are immersed in your own body, I suppose, and you learn the public language as you come to know other people's experience and the symbolic container of that experience, of those experiences, and you gain a complex understanding of human experience based on the words that you know and use, because there's no difference, right? Words and language in this non-dual understanding of knowledge and action is one thing. Words and language they don't define the world objectively, and they have nothing to do with mirroring the world in any way. Instead, each of our words are part of a language game, or a certain set of situations where using certain words gets us certain satisfactions, and it levels out certain discordant patterns, and it gives us equilibrium. And we don't speak and communicate with one another in order to be right about something objective to each of us, or to all of us. We speak and communicate in order to bring about greater solidarity, in order to ease tensions, in order to bring equilibrium back to a situation that has gotten out of balance. And it sort of follows from this view that that you only become conscious when there is some kind of disconnect between your belief about the world and the way the world is. When you have a certain way of viewing events based on your past experiences, and then all of a sudden a new experience happens that doesn't line up, you are conscious of that disequilibrium, and you need to find a solution to it. And only in those types of situations do we become aware of our seamless interaction with the world. Only when we encounter, when we bump our heads against something we didn't notice, do we stop for a second and reevaluate our understanding of what the world is. And that's really how we learn. We learn by making mistakes. And that's another, reason why knowledge and action are the same thing. We cannot learn. We cannot know until we do and fail and learn from the mistake. And, you know, I think a lot of people say we have to be honest on YouTube when we do these videos, otherwise we're not accomplishing anything, and I definitely agree with that. But there's you know, lots of ways we can interpret what it means to be honest. We can look at that command, that we be honest, and make it seem like, well, we have to reveal our inner selves to everybody. But that's a impossible thing to do, I think. Because what do you mean? There is no inner self. There's nothing hidden. There's absolutely nothing secret about me. Anything I can think about myself in words, it's all in a public language. It all makes sense because of, you know, the way the language is used by the community, not because of the way I choose to use words. The words make sense because of the way the community has agreed upon the meanings of the words, not because I use them in my own special, unique way. So if I try to express my inner self, that's totally fatuous. That's dishonest, I think, because you're not expressing your inner self. You're expressing everybody. You're expressing for everybody. And if you look at it that way, I mean, there's nothing private about you. There's nothing that you can hide from anybody else. Even if you don't say something, even if you're not explicit about something, the fact that you didn't say something is just as significant as the fact that you did, isn't it? Yeah, I'm thirsty. That's enough of this video. Thanks for listening.